good afternoon and welcome to the Business Brunch. This is continuous professional development in bite-sized chunks over lunch. And so please do say hello to us if you are there, out there in the ether. Say hello in the comments. This is all about connecting with one another. So do say whether you're open to connect or not. Connecting, learning and thriving, evolving. That's what we're all about today. You may notice that Sarah is not with us today. She has very important things to do.
Yep,
but
supporting
no
from
matter.
afar.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Supporting from afar. And we've had a couple of weeks off, haven't we, with bank holidays and things. So
Yeah,
I don't know about you,
coronation, bank
Melinda.
holiday, all sorts going on. Yep.
I'm a little bit out of kilter, really. This is all kind of feels new again, doesn't it? Anyway, so say hello in the comments, please do. And whilst you do that, I'll tell you what this week's show is all about. So Melinda is leading the show today, and we're going to be talking about recognizing results. And she'll tell you what happened this weekend that highlighted the importance of this to her. But we're going to look at, there are those people in the team who just crack on, who work, who are completely dedicated, and who never really kind of seem to get recognition because that's their main way of operating. And then there are those, aren't there, the kind of butterflies who come in and just do something great once and get loads and loads of recognition. And there are those people who love recognition, public recognition, and there are those people who really shy away from it. So we're going to be looking at how do we recognize results, and how do we recognize results as in see them, but then how do we recognize them on a personal basis to thank someone and to make sure that their work has not gone unnoticed. So that's the plan for today. But please do say hello in the comments if you are out there and watching. And whilst you do that, we will introduce ourselves.
So you can recognize who we are.
First time all over again. Melinda, who are you?
Hi, my name is Melinda Ward. I am the Director of Consulting Solutions and Managed Services for Helm 360. And my co-worker Alfie was just here, but he's finally decided that he can go have a nap in the sun, which is good.
Excellent.
And how about Vanessa? What's your background?
What's my background? Okay, so I'm Vanessa Ashworth and I'm a marketer and I work at eServe, Chartered Surveyors, working on the Home Plus product. It's fabulous. Anyway, so that's me. And yeah, just as you have Alfie, I have Snowball, my dog, who's been going crazy in the last 10 minutes because the window cleaner has just arrived. But we'll cross fingers and hopefully we'll carry on without any interruptions.
It was the WC Fields that said, like, never work with animals or children in a live production.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of working from home, isn't it? Now we meet the children and the animals all the time, don't we? But it's one of life's joys.
Absolutely.
So before we start at recognizing results, oh gosh, the window cleaner's just starting here. Let's say hello to people in the comments. At the minute, just Robert has said hello. So hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, anyone else who's watching won't be as shy and will also say hello too. But yes, let's crack on, shall we?
Yes, and just a reminder for those who are not so familiar with the show, we stream on a lot of different channels, so we can see all of your comments as they come in, but you will only see the comments that are appearing in the feed in which you are. So that's don't be shy and just feel free to ask any questions, raise any examples. This is an open forum, so if you've got anything you'd like to share, we are happy to hear.
And do share any stories or experiences of recognizing results. That'd be really, really helpful for today's conversation. And Kate,
Kate's here.
Kate is here. Kate Stevens says hello. Hello, Kate. Thank you for joining us.
Cool. So what started me on this topic for this week is I was fortunate enough to be in Liverpool for the Eurovision Festival this past week, and I attended the live taping on Thursday night, so the semi-final 2. And I was sat just on the side of the stage, and so I had this perfect perspective for how it all works, how the behind the scenes works. And between the performance acts, the musical acts, the crew has just like a minute, literally, to change out these giant set pieces and fire pots and all sorts. And they literally have this down to like 10 people running in, grabbing the existing set and taking it off, 10 other people bringing out the new set, setting it up, bolting it all together, making sure it's safe for people to stand on and jump on and whatever else needs to happen. But they never get any recognition. These key people, they're dressed in black. You don't even see them much at all on the television performance. And it just got me thinking, there's so many people who are kind of the unsung heroes in a company as well. And there's nothing that can be more frustrating to the people who are in there doing the hard work every day, is to see, as Vanessa said, that butterfly comes in, gets, doesn't do much, gets all the glory, then leaves again. And the people who've been there the whole time are just like, hey, wait, what about me? And that really affects engagement, it affects morale. So we wanted to spend this show talking about what kind of recognition works for people, get some ideas, and also talk a little bit about how can you as a team member help your management understand what sort of recognition works for you. Because obviously, if they don't know, they might be taking the wrong path, and you might be like, well, I don't really care that you put something on the Team Yammer channel that I've done a good job because you didn't tell me about it, or you didn't give me a financial reward, or whatever. It just didn't match your style. So I think we have a responsibility on both sides, both the management side as well as the team member side, to be communicating these things.
That's a really good point. Whilst we take a break there, a few more people have joined and have said hello. So Tracy Greer is here. She says, hi, Vanessa. She's listening today. Looking forward to hearing some gems of knowledge. So hopefully we'll help you with that, Tracy, but do get involved as well and share your experiences. And Zoe McCaskill is here as well. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, Zoe.
And hello to both of us. And we've also got Augustine from Kenya. Fabulous. So welcome. Very special welcome to Augustine. Welcome to you. Yeah, this is it, isn't it? It's that the people who work behind the scenes that make it all happen, but are beautifully invisible as they're supposed to be, because it's not supposed to be seen. But then they don't get that recognition. It's just the starlet who kind of comes on stage who gets the visibility. Yeah. So how do we recognize the results? What's your advice? Where do we start, Melinda?
Well, I think the first and one of the key things is making sure that everybody is clear on what the objectives are and like the mission and the vision for the team, so everybody can ensure that. Sorry, just got the sneeze that keeps on rolling around my nose. But anyway, we need to make sure that everybody knows which direction we're going in, and that can help everybody work together towards the common goals. But once we do that, then I think the next thing is kind of sussing out what sort of recognition systems are already in place, and then kind of determining how that recognition is being distributed, and does that really work for the people that are there now? Because maybe you've had a system in place for 5 years or whatever, but all the individuals have changed. So the system that was in place some time ago may no longer be right for the people we've got in the team.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because you say what systems are in place. So many companies, I imagine, won't have thought about that, on a company-wide basis, not in any detail. And then different managers have very different styles, haven't they? Yeah. So one manager could be really kind of shouting the praise of his or her team, where another manager who's got an equally kind of hardworking team, it won't be their style. And so that team will feel like, hey, why don't we ever get the praise? Exactly. So it's interesting that an organization should perhaps consider that, because it's not it's not just about bonuses as the end of the year, is it?
No, well, because bonuses are frequently tied to milestones.
Yeah.
So, a sales target or billable hours being worked or achieving X. But okay, once a year isn't, or maybe twice a year isn't like enough.
No.
Because one of the other key things that I think is important for people is little and regular recognition, but not just that generic, hey, you're doing a great job, because you can say that and not really know what the person is doing for their job on a daily basis. And the truth of the matter is people know, right? If you're just saying stuff and it's an empty praise, they will know that. So it's far better to have a specific example. I was really impressed by the way that you made your point in that meeting. I was really, you know, thought you did a great job with that presentation. I thought hey, you've done a great job on, getting that sale in the door, and being very specific about it. Just the verbal praise that's targeting those things is a great help to people. It helps validate that they're on the right path, and it helps them feel seen and recognized. And they know it's not just air words because you're being specific about it.
I like that. I like that. And because whilst you were talking, I was thinking, oh, it'd be good to have some kind of consistency about that. But then it can't be too consistent, otherwise, you're trying to find things. But
Yeah.
so, for example, I with my team, we have a Friday afternoon call where we kind of shout out our weekly wins. We celebrate kind of what we did well that week, so that we recognize ourselves what we've done. Because I think that's important
That's a
as well,
great
isn't it?
idea. Yeah.
It's looking back to kind of think, well, how did I make progress this week? How have I moved us forward, kind of in the kind of team direction or company direction? Um, so I think recognizing your own results is really important as well. But then when I'm thinking of it as a team leader, what can I do to reflect that back then to the team? And I've always said it's great to post on LinkedIn, for example, to
Mhm.
call out the team and say what they've done well that week or what wins the team has had, because that's great kind of external recognition. But it's also kind of good promotion as well, because people then want to
Yeah.
join your team because it sounds good. As long as, of course, your team are happy with that and are also on LinkedIn and want to be called out like that.
Yeah, this is all very true. And it's one of those kind of tricky balances to find. I think within a team, kind of that group recognition, even the more shy people will be generally okay with that because they know the audience. But there are some people who might feel a bit kind of taken aback by being, called out like in an all company post or in a public post like a LinkedIn. So some people will love it,
Mm.
but maybe not everybody will. So there's also, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the idea of, as a contributor, and even if you are a manager, as long as you're reporting to anybody, there are a couple things that you can do to work better. So one of the things that you can do is to keep a file, email file or whatever, and just call it like happy news or good news folder, and just dump any compliments you get in there. Because the thing is, on an annual review basis, if something happened a month or two ago, you're not going to necessarily remember it. So keeping that can be a great idea. And it's also, to be honest, if you're having a bit of a knockback or a bad day, it's great to jump in that folder and just have a read through of what's happened that's good, so that just to kind of boost yourself a bit. But use that information during your performance review. And actually, I always encourage my teams, and try to do it myself too, when you get that, hey, from a client, really appreciate the hard work, send it on to your manager. Just say, hey, FYI, so that they have that visibility and that they can use that, not just to give you feedback, but it also can be good for the sales process or for the customer success
Yeah.
organization as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I worked at Noricon Group, our CEO at the time, Rob Joyce, I mean, it was a company with 2,500 people kind of all across the world.
Mhm.
But if you sent him a note to say, my team has achieved this, or this person has achieved this amazing thing, he would send an email to them copying the whole organization to say, well done, I've heard
Mhm.
this, many thanks, and he'll quote the company value and things like that. And that was something that, because somebody who's so far away from kind of the organization, that was something that was always really, really appreciated. So that's something that organizations can do.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of like, yeah, capture the compliments as they come in. You know
Mhm.
me, I've got my, I'm always showing you my planner. I capture my wins at the end of every day.
Oh,
Um, and
that's really
yeah,
good.
I always try and make myself find my wins. And then there's monthly pages in there. And again, you're kind of supposed to look back on the month to say,
And kind
what
of
did I do
summarize
well this
forward.
month? So
Okay.
I encourage everyone to try and do something like that, because like you say, appraisals and things like that, it's this kind of information you need. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we've all been had the experience when we're, "Oh, hey, we need you to get your appraisal done. Oh, and could you have it back to us by tomorrow, please?" And that's when your mind goes completely blank, and then you think, "Well, yeah, I did
What have I
stuff."
done?
And then you also think, at least, I do, and so perhaps others do, well, this is just what I do. It's my job. It's not necessarily remarkable that
Mhm.
I achieved this thing, that I saved this deal, or I, salvaged a project that was going off the rails. But just because it's normal to you doesn't mean it's normal to everybody. So kind of not being too, self-deprecating can
Yeah.
be a good thing, because I think especially in the British culture, it's very common to say, "Oh, I don't want to make a fuss. I don't want to, jump. I don't want to call attention to myself." But if it's within the context of the business, it's not arrogance. It's not being conceited. It's, as long as you're not like, "Well, I'm the
Yeah.
best. That's me." There's a balance to be found, obviously, but I think more people tend to err on the side of understating their
Yeah.
contributions and understating their value. But I think we have a few comments that have come in.
Yeah, no, it's just this one from Zoe that says championing others is good if everyone is on board. I think that was to the kind of calling out the team,
Yeah.
which is really absolutely true. The other, what I was thinking about, and you just brought it up, really, is that us Brits, and I know you're not, and obviously Augustine's here from Kenya, and LinkedIn is a very multinational global place,
Mm.
but we're not very good at saying thank you and or shouting about our own achievements, or really recognizing others. We're a bit socially inept. I speak for
I would
myself,
say
but
conservative, not inept. Let's
it's
not be too harsh. Case in point, right? Case in point.
yeah. Yes. So that's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
So but I think, as always, when it comes about promotion, when you make it about them and not about you, that's when you can kind of still deliver it, and because
Mhm.
you're not making it about yourself, you're making it about the thing or the team
Yeah.
or whatever. Kind of depersonalize it, makes it a bit easier.
Yeah,
So
it's like,
Robert,
how
sorry,
did
go
you
on.
help the
Yeah,
team achieve their goals? How did you help the company achieve their goals is a lot different of a message than "I'm the best in the world."
I did
Yeah,
this great thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So Robert says, if we're looking at recognizing results of employees, should we really be asking the subject to write their own appraisal, or have I misunderstood? Now, I don't know about you, Robert, but whenever ever it comes to appraisal time, I've always been sent a form to fill in
Yeah,
to
like a
say what I'd done
self-evaluation thing, yeah.
in self-evaluation. Um, and it was always supposed to be that the manager would do it at the same time, but
Mhm.
usually you would do your bit first, you would send it in, they would then kind of come back. So yeah, tell us, Robbie, if you've got a better way, then share that with us. What do you think, Melinda?
Yeah, that's been, I mean, in my corporate history, just the companies that I've worked with, that's been the model, is that, you do your self-evaluation, your manager does their evaluation, you kind of compare and contrast the two
Yeah.
against each other. I do think it is important for people to have a voice. And I also recognize that often in larger organizations, the line manager, although you could say they should know what you're doing, they may not understand the full breadth of what you're doing on a daily basis, especially if you are one of those kind of quietly competent people who continually take on extra tasks and
Mhm.
those things. Oh, just do this once, but then it becomes a regular thing. And oh, could you help out here? Then it becomes a regular thing. So suddenly these people end up doing a lot more than people sometimes remember they're doing. So
Yes.
that's where the opportunity to self-advocate, even if you don't have a self-review process built in, is important. Because it's a key thing. Another option or thing to consider is managing up. So if you want a promotion, your
Mhm.
line manager is going to need to justify that to the finance team, to, even if they are the head of the company, they still need to justify it to, the other directors and things like that. So how can they do that? They need justification of the value that you're bringing into the company. So by being able to recognize your own contributions, even if they're not giving you recognition like, gold stars on the company intranet page or whatever, if your big form of recognition is promotions, is salary increases, give your management the tools they need to be able to advocate for you and for the recognition that you deserve to their finance teams, to their directors and so forth, because that's a big help in getting that kind of job done. Because many people who are on boards of directors or heads of finance and so forth, they can't take the logic of, well, this is the right thing to do. That's not enough justification. They need the whole, like, to quote an old movie, show me the money. Show me what this person has done to move the business forward. And then I can justify that additional spend on salary. I can justify that additional bonus payment.
So we've got 6 or 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I think we need to summarize, but also I don't think there's anything else that we haven't spoken about yet. Have you got anything else to
I was just
include?
looking at my notes. I guess the big thing that I wanted to, or like the final thing, not the big
Yeah.
thing, but the final thing, is like recognition is really important, even for the quiet folks. Even though someone might say, "Oh, I'm kind of shy. I don't want to be having my picture on the virtual notice board or the actual notice board as employee of the month. That's just embarrassing to me." Those people still need recognition. It just might need to be on a more personal level. Being specific about the achievements and what you have noticed and appreciated in that moment. It can just be a small thing about what someone did that week or in a meeting. That really helps build morale and keep people engaged. Making sure people know what goals they are working towards, what the
It's
vision.
important.
Yeah, it's really important. But also, I think, I know this is kind of something on varying themes that I kind of preach on a lot, is try not to get stuck in a rut and be open to looking at new forms of recognition, looking at new ways of approaching, reviewing people's achievements and how those are recognized. Because something that fit the team a few years ago may not fit the team as it looks now, and their jobs may have evolved as well. So those objectives for getting recognition may have also shifted.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else would you like to add, Vanessa?
Well, I was just thinking. So I think two things, I think, really. I think the idea about being innovative in how you recognize results is important. So it could be, is it face to face closed? Is it face to face in a team setting? Is it by email? Is it by email copying in someone
Mhm.
above? Is it by email copying in the whole team? Is it a LinkedIn shout out? Is it a financial boost to say
Mhm.
thank you for that great thing you did? Is it, I don't know, a bottle of champagne or a bunch of flowers or some chocolate? Is it an actual gift? So I was trying to think of all the different ways you could
Yeah.
recognize a person. You can obviously recognize a team with a kind of a team day out or team building, that kind of thing. And maybe there are kind of the other ways, like you said about maybe you get an extra volunteering day a year or
Yeah.
something if you do something great, and if that's what you love, if you're a volunteer. So maybe kind of personalizing it
Yeah, I think it's
is a
important.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, because if we think about, I can tell you a kind of a funny story where I did get a recognition at one point, and I was sent a gift card from my company, a legacy company who was
Mhm.
headquartered in the US, which was really lovely, except the gift card could only be used in the US, and I live in the
Yeah,
UK. So, I mean, it's like that.
I've had one of them.
Yeah. So it's like the recognition. While I appreciated the concept of the gift, it was kind of like, yeah, that's a bit of a miss.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an exhibition stand company, a supplier, who was in the Netherlands, and they sent me a gift card for a local garden centre in the Netherlands for something or other. And of
Yeah,
course, I never got to use it. But well, then you must come and visit us.
yeah, and you probably can't bring plant materials here, like from the Netherlands into the
Probably
UK
not.
now as well. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But the other
so
thing I was going to add as well is that it doesn't have to be kind of between manager and team or team individual. It's important to
yeah,
recognize the people in your team. And yeah, and so to call out what you see is good work, just generally,
yeah,
whether it's
absolutely.
someone above you or someone below you or someone at the same level as you. I think what we've got to do is normalizing appreciation.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
especially if your very valid point, if it's cross-team help that's really gotten you across the line, make sure they get the recognition they deserve and their manager gets copied in on that because, you know, they helped you a lot this time. If you want to help them to help you the next time,
yeah,
then if they know it was appreciated, then that will really help to facilitate the process quite a bit.
absolutely, absolutely, brilliant, good. So yeah, lots of different ways to recognize success and good results, up, down, and across.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's it for today, isn't it? Have we got a bank holiday next week, or are we back?
No, no, uh, we've got a special guest, and
Andrew Priestley, is it?
yes, Andrew
Yes.
Priestley is coming, and if you have been with us for a little while, you might remember that Andrew Priestley was a guest a few months ago. I think it was kind of at the beginning of the year,
I think it was last year. I think it's towards the end of last year
or
because
was it the end of last year?
if you
Yeah,
remember, he was going to have a book that was coming out at a similar
exactly.
time to Sarah. No, I've not seen any posts about this book, so we'll have to ask him
Yeah.
about it.
But
Yeah, yeah,
the last show with Andrew was great fun.
it was.
So highly recommend that you join us, and we will see you next week, same time, same place.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.